Hey guys, Justin here from AHM. So I want to talk about something that's really close to me on a training level, and I want to make sure I share this information with you because my goal is to get you guys the best results I can, and this is really important to your training and just getting where you want to be with your goal. So today we're going to talk a little bit about progress, overload, and overtraining. Now, most of you guys when you first start AHM think this is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Oh my God, it's crazy, and hopefully you get great results, and you might see yourself lose 5 to 10 pounds in that first month. And then there's some of you guys who have been here for a couple months and things are getting a little easier and you're still seeing progress. And then there's a couple of you who will be here for a couple months after that and you start going, these workouts weren't quite as tough as you wanted them to be, or they weren't as tough as when you first started. Well, that's going to come down to the couple of concepts we just talked about, the overload, progress, and overtraining. So let's kind of go through some basic concepts. If someone starts walking for 15 minutes and they've been doing nothing at all, when they first start walking, that 15 minutes is going to be really tough for them. And then you know what happens? They get better. And now 15 minutes doesn't do anything. And I was at a business seminar a couple months back, and the guy said, if you want to make 6 figures, you can't just do more of what made you you can't do more of what made you 5 figures. And what he's saying is, if I want to lose 20 pounds, I can't just do more of what made me lose the first 3. So, if you're walking 15 minutes and you're lost some weight, and all of a sudden you're walking 15 minutes and you're not, you've got to do something. You've got to progress. So, whether that's adding time, which is what a lot of people do. If they were walking 15 minutes, then they start walking 30 minutes and an hour, and that's good. But the problem with that model is eventually you start running out of time. So what happens when you get used to walking an hour? So you add days. Now you're walking 7 days a week. So now what happens? You're walking 7 days a week, you're walking an hour a day, and you're running out of time. And the next thing you know, it's 2 hours a day. And now it's just not being practical. And the same thing happens in resistance training and in bodyweight training. People start doing push-ups, and they start off, they can do 10, and that's a challenge. Then they get up to 20. And then they're saying, oh, push-ups are easy. And next thing you know, you're doing 1,000 or 20,000 or whatever. And the same thing I hear it in crunches and sit-ups and ab stuff. Oh, my abs are getting so strong. These don't get my abs anymore. So does that just mean you need to do more of them? Is that the trick to get overload? And yes, that'll work for a while. But as you progress, your body gets used to it. So what you need to do is you need to change the intensity. And before I go into the intensity talk, I want to talk about something in the sense of, I used to have the privilege of working with a lot of high-level UFC MMA fighters. Now, believe it or not, UFC fighters, their goals are really not that much different than you. They want to move better. They want to be stronger. They're a little more concerned with being faster, but they really, really need to lose weight because if they don't make weight, they don't make money. They have a weigh-in with people and cameras. I mean, you guys get embarrassed going on the scale in the bathroom. Imagine having a television crew there watching you to make sure you got to your goal. So, I worked with Chris Cyborg, women's MMA champ, for a long time. And this was her first championship fight. Now, Chris works out about 5 to 6 hours a day. She is exactly like her name sounds. She's a machine. She works harder than any man I know, and she deserves everything that comes to her from that. But believe it or not, Chris, working 5 to 6 hours a day, can't lose weight sometimes. And we really have to work hard on that. So we had a program for her for this fight to make her weight at 145. And about 4 weeks before the fight, something happened. She started gaining weight. Now this girl's working out 5 to 6 hours a day, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, kickboxing. She's doing strength conditioning with me, and she's gaining weight. Her food was precision, taken care of, totally under control, but she was gaining weight. So after a panic meeting with all her coaches, it turns out Chris is still human and started thinking that maybe she wasn't making the progress she wanted, and she wanted to lose weight a little faster. So she had started running 5 to 6 miles a night on top of all her training. And guess what happens when she started running those 5 to 6 miles a night? She gained weight. Yes, she ran and gained weight because more is not always better. So with Chris, we sat her down, we talked to her. She stopped the running. We kept our program going the way it was. She got back on track, made weight, made history. If you ever saw the fight, it's an amazing one on YouTube, Gina Carano vs. Chris Cyborg, and she looked amazing and looked awesome doing that. But the moral of the story was more was not better, especially for someone who's an athlete. When you first start working out, you can do just a little bit of anything, and it's better than what you were doing, so you lose weight. As you get more progressed and more trained, it takes a lot more precision, progress, and overload. So this goes for you people who are starting and those of you who are just being with it for a year or two. You need to track what you do. Working out is a science. Believe it or not, trainers don't just make up workouts in the morning, some do. But you don't just make up workouts and say, oh, this will work good. The idea is to get a goal. So when you're lifting weights, what weights did you do today? Did you put the weights on that you did last week? Do you even know what the weight was you put on today? You need to track these things. If you want to see progress, these weights need to increase every time. I try to aim for about 3 to 5% a week, depending on the lifts. So if you did 100 pounds last week, try for 103. If you did 200 pounds, try for 210. And if you don't get all 8 reps that you were assigned, and let's say you were supposed to do 8 and you got 6, that's perfect. That means it's hard for you. That's like when you had to walk in those 15 minutes. You need to have that challenge. A lot of people get very comfortable being good at something and they don't want to step out of that comfort zone. But all change happens outside of the comfort zone. So the same thing applies to a workout. If you feel like you've been doing a workout and you're like, you know what, I'm breezing through, I'm getting this stuff, ask yourself if you're pushing yourself hard and where are you pushing yourself. The difference between doing a workout where you did 5 deadlifts and a lap 5 times, that could be the easiest workout in the world or it could be the hardest workout in the world. What's going to determine that is the weight you use on the lift and how fast you run. Now, yesterday at our gym, we did a little circuit training. We did a 30-second station with a 30-second rest. I heard a lot of people say it was the hardest workout they'd done in a long time. We don't do a lot of circuit training. I had some people tell me it was the easiest workout they'd done in a long time. Now, the only difference there is how hard they pushed. Some people in those 30 seconds, their heart rates were all the way at their max, probably over 200. Some people, their heart rate might have been at their max at 150. But everyone was pushing hard, and the people who weren't were just killing time, and it wasn't tough for them. These are the people that typically tell me they need to do 1,000 reps on something because they don't know how to push short term. It's well known in training, and this goes for strength and as far as conditioning goes as heart rate and cardio. The higher the intervals you can get, you want high intensity to low intensity. Running like a marathon racer, you might lose a couple pounds at first, but it's not the best way to get fat loss. You want high intensity to low intensity. So if you're at the gym and we're doing squats, instead of finding a smooth rhythm on them, get those squats done as fast as you can. Take 10-second break, catch your breath, and move to the next exercise. What's nice is intervals are built in by our body. A lot of times we're doing exercises at the gym, and let's say I say 20 push-ups and then 20 sit-ups. And we don't do a lot of sit-ups, but let's just throw that in there. For someone who's brand new, they might have to do 5 push-ups, stop, take a little break, 5 push-ups, stop, take a little break. Your body programmed that interval in there automatically for you, and you're probably going to rest longer because you need to recover. Someone who's really conditioned is going to do those push-ups a lot faster. They're going to get all 20 done, and they're going to need less time to recover to bring them back to resting. But the interval is still there. The problem starts running into when people don't find high-intensity things. They do their exercises all at the same level, and they're steadied out. They never push the weight and make it challenging, and therefore they get stagnant. They get stuck. And I hear it all the time. People, I'm stuck. I'm not getting the progress I want. The progress is going to come down to you. As a coach or a trainer, especially in a group setting, our job is to facilitate a safe workout. But if you're not tracking your weights, if you're not making sure that when you do something, you're doing it right, and that's an important part too. When you first start, people kind of let a little motion go. If you're doing a pull-up and maybe your chin doesn't come over the bar all the way, we let it slide. But as you get to a certain level, that chin's got to be over the bar every time. And you know what? If you have to do 2 of those and stop, build in that interval both for your strength and for your cardio. Intervals and strength are called rest periods. If you do a heavy weight and it's heavier than what you did the first set, you need to wait a little longer before you do it again, or else you're not going to be able to do it right. You might be able to do it, but you're going to hurt yourself, or you're not going to get the effect you want. So, the moral of the story of this video is high intensity to low intensity. If you're lifting heavy, you're going to need to rest a little longer. It can be an active rest, but it needs to rest. If you're not tracking your weights and you're not progressing each week, you're not going to see the goals you want. And the same goes for your cardio. If your cardio looks like, hey, I was running 3 miles a month ago and I'm running 3 miles today, not going to see anything different. It needs to be different. You can still run 3 miles, but it needs to be, I sprinted half a mile, I walked half a mile, I sprinted a lap, I jogged a lap. You need to have those variations and changes so the intensity is high. And if you know what, if you're just going to run 3 miles, that 3 miles better be a much faster pace this 3 months than it was the first 3 months, because that's going to change the intensity. So, for those of you who are just starting, I hope you guys are tracking what you're doing now so you can progress later on. For those of you who are veterans and have been doing things a long time and you feel like you just need something to break your plateau, try something out. Work on the technique. See if you can get better at something. Go for more weight, or go, the saying, balls to the walls. Do something as fast as you can and see how much energy you can burn doing it. And that energy is calories. Burning those calories is going to turn to burning fat. You're going to get you guys in shape. All right. Hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me at info@ahmfitness.com, or you can add us at Facebook at AHM Fitness, and we'll hopefully answer your questions from there. All right, guys. See you in the gym. Have a good workout.